The pall that had descended over the north is gone, and a new day has dawned on the victorious Mithril Hall. But no matter how bright things seem on the surface, Dritz and his companions know that what lurks just under their feet remains steeped in evil and charged with unimaginable power. The dark elves of Menzoberranzan, including the powerful Archmage Grom, aren't done with Dritz yet, and consumed by their power struggles, feeling backed into a corner, the Drow may just be desperate enough to call on demonic forces from the deepest reaches of the abyss and unleash a disaster even the Underdark could never be prepared for. Today's soup is a tasty treat from the Abyss. No, not Davos and the demons from the WEF, or even the ones lurking in DC or Hollywood, Peterwood if you will. No, we are going to take a gander at the garish Goristro. Goristro, which admittedly sounds like a new Gordon Ramsay restaurant that features a paleo diet menu. Or as one of our groups says, sounds like a stuffy, useless college major on slasher films that might be taught by John Carpenter or Wes Craven. No, for our friend, we are going to go to the source way back in 1984 in Dragon Magazine issue 91, long before they were more fully realized like in the novel Archmage from R.A. Salvatore. That was our opening, so without further ado or bullshittery, I give you a reading from the Book of Gygax. All rise, cast your dice, the Goristro revealed. And an elegant following tagline that made me love this game from a young buck, and one only the master could get away with. Big, dumb demon brought out of hiding. How could a demon as huge as the Goristro be missing? How the entire race of the brutes? That seems to be the case, for Monster Manual 2 mentioned these dreaded dwellers on the abyssal plane, but nowhere within the book could any other information be found about them. Time to put on the double-bill detective cap and find the culprit. After yours truly summoned Dr. Menser to assist, we began a full-scale investigation. Nothing on the computer, nothing amidst the pencil draft, nothing anywhere. The clever swine must have used a powerful domer to avoid detection. But to no avail, good readers. The typewriter is mightier than any demon, let alone a clan as stupid as the Goristro. Here, then, are the vital statistics which will enable you to include these foul fiends in your AD&D game campaign. He goes on to say, these huge demons are collectively known as Goristro. One can be found on nearly any plane of the abyss, for they are adaptable and much desired by the rulers of the place to serve as engines of destruction. Demon lords and princes are able to command the Goristro and have them serving as guardians, enforcers, and so on. The hulking Goristro are too stupid and bestial to do more than carry out their orders. The attack mode of these monsters consists of 2 clubbing smashes with their long and very powerful arms. Each is equal to a crushing blow. In addition, a stomping attack can be made against any opponent 6 feet or less height within 10 feet of these brutes. They hurl boulders. Goristro have the following spell-like powers which they can employ at any time, 1 per round, at will: detect illusion, detect invisibility, fear. Gloom, a 60-foot radius, levitation, spider climb, and teleport without error, once per day only. So they did have some magic to start off. Even the lowliest of Goristro can be harmed only by +1 or better magic weapons. All of them are immune to cold, fire, poison, and poison gas. They regenerate at the rate of 1 hit point per turn. They have both infravision and ultravision. As noted in the listed statistics given above, Goristro receives 6 hit points per hit die in addition to whatever is rolled. As can be seen from the foregoing, the Goristro are major amongst their ilk because of their ability to absorb damage and to mete it out. They are stupid and otherwise limited in power, being unable to even gate in other demons. The vast majority of Goristro encountered will be in the service of some abyssal ruler, blindly carrying out the duties assigned to them. There is never a question of retreat or morale when dealing with these brutes. They will always continue to follow their given commands until completion or death occurs. Some symbol of servitude will be worn by Goristro, ruled by a lord or prince, whether it be a collar, arm, or wristband, implanted symbol, or whatever. Such devices typically have the power to convey telepathic commands to the wearer, as well as serve as a tracking device, so they're GPSed, should the masses wish to know the whereabouts of their servants. Without direct command or supervision, Goristro tend to wander off on destructive rampages of their own direction and desire. Goristro are vaguely reminiscent of giant bears, although their shoulders are broader, their visages appearing to be a nightmarish cross between bison and human, and their hands and feet disproportionately large, splayed, and human-like. And that was back in 1984, when we got that from one of the creators, Gary Gygax. Goristro are a powerful type Tantari demon that resemble fiendish minotaurs or roided-out bodybuilders with goat legs and devilish-looking bison heads, or bailers, but with none of the dangerous intellect to match, so dumb bailers with no wings. But don't let that fool you or put your mind at ease. No, these brutes weigh in at 14,000 pounds, 6,400 kilograms, or 28 Rosie O'Donnells, depending on your scale. And the small ones are 20 feet tall, which, to put that in perspective, is the height of basically a 2-story building. And there is one that is 200 feet tall, which is the size of a 20-story building.
It took less than 20 seconds for demolition crews to bring this building down, formerly 20 stories high. All that remained was a pile of dust.
Known as Bajornagal, or as one of my players pronounces, Bajorn goes anal. Now this huge fucker knew how to intimidate, as it walked around the abyss with a small village of arenas living on his back and shoulders. That would be a spectacular high-level end confrontation. You just need to get that 40-inch high mini. Anyway, now they are often described as somewhat bear-like, but their arms were long and wide, like the trunks of trees. Because of this, they moved on their knuckles like a giant gorilla as they barreled forward. That is terrifying. Great muscularity was clearly visible across their entire squatted forms. Necessarily wide shoulders carried a massive head reminiscent of a leering bison, with carnivorous teeth and giant horns that curved upright. Their hands and feet were giant and splayed, yet still humanoid in shape, so they kept that all the way up to this latest version. A wide variety of color palettes existed among them, including dark brown, sickly green, and purplish gray. Tame Goristro often had markings indicating their masters, whether they be collars, bands, tattoos, or horn carvings. Tame. How the f***? We'll get back to that later. Goristro, without the supervision of more intelligent beings, were prone to go on rampages in random directions. If left this way, they had little in the way of goals outside of being predators. Despite not needing food, they consumed for the simple but cruel fun that came from eating living things, and cared not if something was actually edible, so long as an object was small enough to fit in its mouth and moved. Like your mom, the Goristro would not hesitate to eat it, a clear demonstration of their greatest weakness. Also sounds like a few of my friends after they smoked a bowl and we passed Taco Bell. Now, Goristro are amazingly unintelligent beings who only concern themselves with smashing things, and only the rare object they find aesthetically appealing escape their destruction. So it's Goristro smash, Goristro smash, oh, pretty. Due to their utter stupidity, this horde would consist of objects ranging from precious treasures to pretty pieces of trash. The positive aspect of a Goristro's behavior was that they could be trusted, which is hard to come by, if not always relied upon, to complete their tasks to the best of their abilities. They blindly followed their commands with heavy fanaticism, completing their duties unless told to do something else or upon death. Although they might attempt to eat a significantly unimportant Tantari if no one was looking, sneaking in that quick meal on the down low. Goristro were strange among Tuntari in that they possessed practically no supernatural abilities associated with their kin, yet they're freaking huge. They could not communicate telepathically. Once again, freaking huge. Although they could still speak and were incapable of summoning more Tuntari to their aid. Who needs aid when you're freaking huge? What little magical ability they had let them climb walls, levitate, strike fear into the hearts of those around them, and regenerate from minor injury. Also, did I mention they are freaking huge? Goristro shared the navigational skills of minotaurs, never becoming lost and hunting through labyrinth passages with ease. They were powerful enough to grant this ability to a few others as a magical boon, although like all demon boons, they stayed at the demon's pleasure, and accepting them corrupted a soul with chaotic evil and insanity. So there's that, and there's also, the huge thing. Now in combat, the Goristro wasn't about to break out any Sun Tzu tactics, no. Goristro only had a feral beast grasp of tactics. They went on rampages using horn, hoof, and fist to destroy everything around them. If surrounded by many lesser opponents, they could stamp their feet with all their might to cause small earthquakes and disrupt all non-Goristro around them, and were trained to throw giant rocks which could be hurled at distant enemies. Goristro made exceptional siege beasts, obliterating walls and buildings with ease. Unhampered by minor injuries, however, they hesitated to scale walls as their massive size made falling a bit more dangerous. Due to their overwhelming idiocy, however, one could theoretically use mental magic to repel Goristro away. That is, if you could summon the courage to stand in front of something that size and try some freaking Jedi mind tricks. When being used by other demons, Goristro were both siege weapons, battle platforms, and rallying points, hosting small groups of demons upon its back as it smashed enemy walls and threw stones like a living catapult. The best way around this deadly formation would be to try to flank a Goristro in hopes that it would lumber back and forth and batter those in its citadel to death. If not being trained as war weapons, Goristro were used as guard beasts for the hordes of powerful demon lords. Even though they only possessed rudimentary intelligence, they could be trusted to enforce simple rules such as prevent others from stealing, or protect targets from harm, or Hulk smash. Hulk smash! Because of their lack of intelligence and treasured status, the method used by Goristro masters to label normally allowed them to keep them in telepathic contact with their pets and track their locations. Once again, they GPS'd them like they were UPS drivers. While not rare, Goristro were hard to capture in the wild. Although 90% were in service to a greater power, if not captured, they could normally be found wandering the elemental chaos or the abyss, particularly in the Endless Maze or the cold caverns of the Endless Wastes. Orcus himself used Goristro demons, but through his experiments using their lifeless bodies, gradually perfected his own personal creations. The horrors were Goristros, with the lower half of a giant spider, and that had no thought for anything outside of battle, but did not possess the stupidity of normal Goristro. Due to their spider-like appearance, they were often used as the commanders and frontline warriors against the armies of Lolth as an insult. Orcus knows how to fuck with you. Goristro almost never bred naturally. Try getting that thought out of your head. But instead were mated by their owners after lengthy negotiations with another Goristro master. Both had to be watched closely to avoid trickery by the other side, such as an abduction or infanticide. That is just nasty. The terms of the agreement normally had the single child be given to whichever side had a Goristro of the opposite sex. After 5 years, the beast would reach maturity, allowing whichever owner received it to breed his own, albeit inbreed ones. Breaking of the terms of these agreements, even though simply buying the young were common, it was never allowed for a Goristro's parents to have influence on it. Kind of sounds like how they want the public school system to be today. All right, centuries worth of selective breeding within fighting pits only enhanced their already dangerous physiques. Old reports claiming that Goristro did have to eat claimed to be purely carnivorous and capable of eating plant matter. 2 weeks without food would be enough to kill them, according to these, and their flesh itself was poisonous to consume. So there'll be no hunting parties for Goristro for a meal in the freezer for a month. As one might predict, the Goristro were the creations of Baphomet, made within his Tower of Science and his most legendary monsters. And just when I hear that Baphomet had a Tower of Science, it makes me think that he had like a whole college campus going on down there. The Horned Lord allowed Goristro to capture his favorite beast, knowing that their prevalence throughout the abyss brought him fame and glory. When not being captured, they stalked his endless maze, hungrily wandering throughout the halls, crushing enemies and ally alike. Nice. They were nearly always seen on the material plane due to the activities of one of Baphomet's cultists, summoned due to the need for a guardian. A Goristro named Orwans, under the personal command of Gratz, patrolled Asgrat's borders to defend traveling merchants by destroying the few bandits that prowled the area. He demanded tribute for this. That often found its way to the Argent Palace's treasure chamber. Orwans wore a crown of black amantine with black opal that signified his relations to Grants, and it was rumored the jewelry allowed Grants to temporarily possess him, combining shocking strength with a cunning mind, which is terrible because nothing that big should be that fast and smart. The largest known Goristro, as we said before, was 10 times the size of most and known as Bajornagal. He walked around the abyss with a small village of Aranias living on his back and shoulders. And in 1486 DR, Matron Mother Quenthel Byrne successfully summoned a Goristro and used it for her personal representative and soldier in Menzo Baranzan. And that was the opening that we used from R.A. Salvatore's novel Archmage. And here's a little more from that book, which will hit differently now after our presentation. Glump spun back just in time to see a swarm of chasm drop upon the Glabruzo, and waded another Marilanth, along with a pair of large Nalfinsi, and then a monstrous Goristro. This was the matron mother's force. A Goristro, he murmured, shaking his head. Only certain Balas and the demon lords themselves were more powerful. To summon such a creature was always a danger. To summon one and send it forth into battle, even more so. But to summon a Goristro and send it out beside a trio of major demons and with a swarm of Chasmi beside it? Madness. Now, if you made it this far, please tickle that like button and smash the subscribe. We will see you all real soon with some more monstery goodness. Until then, stay frosty and aware, beautiful people. Thank you. Thank you very much.